Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and this is my Week 7 battle for UBC Season Number 5. This is a replay versus my buddy ZAMCRO, aka Scoot, and I did live record this battle, but it ended up being kind of long, and there's a lot of space between turns because there's a lot of hard thought going into each turn. So, rather than bring you guys a drawn-out game, I figured I would just do a post-com and try and shorten it up. As you can see, Scoot has brought Kyurem, Tangrowth, Rotom, Raikougars, Alolan Persian, and Salazzle. And if you did miss my team builder, let me just quickly go through my team. I am packing a Double Dance Cobalion. I had to think about what the hell it was called for a second there. Double Dance Cobalion. I'm bringing a Rocks, Supersonic Sky Strike Lando, that's defensive, to check his Excadrill. I have a mostly Fizz-Def Blastoise to take on Kyurem, and I've got Dark Pulse to hit Kofag if it tries to spin block me. I have a Leftovers Modest Goodra with Toxic. I have an Expert Belt Victini. Not Expert Belt, Assault Vest. I have Assault Vest Victini. And then I also have a Life Orb Vortex Weavile. So, right off the bat, I'm pretty surprised not to see the Gardevoir or the Excadrill. Both of those Pokemon were very big threats versus my team. But I'm certainly happy not to see them. He's brought a very bulky team, actually. Like 4 out of his 6 Mons are likely to be defensive, which is actually really good versus the team that I brought. I brought a fairly offensive team. The only sort of like defensive Pokemon I would say is Goodra, but you know, Goodra even, it's got a modest nature and it doesn't have Assault Vest or anything, so it's not super bulky. It just happens to have Toxic, and I'm really glad that I made that choice, because if I was just normal AV, I wouldn't really have anything to whittle down this team. I needed to go offensive in order to be able to deal with Kyurem and Gardevoir. They're just too threatening otherwise. So the fact that he was able to switch it up in this matchup, I think was very good. That was nice prep on his part. In terms of leads, I think Goodra is pretty safe because his most likely lead is Rotom, and as long as he doesn't lead with KB, I think that Goodra is good versus the rest of his team. Doesn't care about Salazzle, it can Toxic everything else, so definitely pretty happy with that option. So Rotom does come in, and I am expecting an immediate Volt Switch, but instead he just doubles and goes hard into Tangrowth, and I do go for that Toxic and miss. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but I am just going to go for another Toxic as he's going to go for a knockoff, getting rid of my lefties. So I'm already a little bit bummed that I don't have the leftovers now, just because Salazzle could potentially be scary, because now I don't have any opportunity to really recover versus it. I can't really live 2 Sludge Waves now. I have to sack something and then bring my Goodra in. Anyway, I'm expecting the Rotom switch in, so I make a prediction and hit the Energy Ball on that thing. This does suggest that it's a max HP Rotom, and he might be expecting me to be Scarf at this point, just because that's, you know, a very popular item on Victini, and I did switch out immediately. Let me slow down for a second here. So the Victini did switch out on the Rotom because I couldn't kill the Rotom with any move at that time, so it made sense to switch out, and so he made a good double, and or no, he didn't make a double. He was able to make the Volt Switch play and go right into his Kyurem. So that's really nice because Kyurem obviously applies a ton of pressure to Goodra. It can OHKO with Dragon move, and it could probably OHKO me with the Ice Beam just because I'm not Assault Vest like I've mentioned. So I am going to double out of my Goodra and go into my Cobalion, but he makes a double of his own and goes into the Rotom. So that's definitely annoying for me because now he can just Volt Switch again and potentially go back into Kyurem. So I don't want to go into Goodra and just have this same play happen again. He's either going to Wisp or Volt Switch. I don't think there's really any chance that he goes for a Pump. So Victini with its Assault Vest is able to take this Volt Switch quite well, and the Salazzle comes in. Salazzle, like I've mentioned, is definitely a threat versus me at this moment, especially with the Balloon, because my Lando has to burn its Supersonic Sky Strike to kill it, and my Goodra can't really pivot in on 2 Sludge Waves like I've said. But Victini, because of its Assault Vest, can actually take a Sludge Wave at the range of HP that it's at. I think it does like 33% max, considering this is not a Life Orb Salazzle. So I can go ahead and kill it with the Zen Headbutt. what he is fearing is that I'm a Scarf Victini. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to double into the Persian and check to see if I have Zen. And I do indeed show my Zen Headbutt, which is definitely a bummer. And now I have to double out. This does still sort of support the hypothesis that I'm Scarf, but of course I know that I'm Assault Vest. If he'd been doing the damage calcs, he would know that that I'm Assault Vest, but I don't know for sure if that's what he's been doing. I go to my Blastoise on this Kofag because I don't really have another option. I don't want to go into my Goodra and have it get further weakened because I really need that for the Salazzle right now. And I don't want any of my other Mons getting burned. I don't want my Victini getting killed by a Shadow Ball. So that sort of just leaves me with Blastoise. And then the Kofag does go for a T-Spike. So looking at his team at Team Preview, I did notice that he didn't have any Rockers on his team. And that did make me worry a little bit about this potential T-Spikes on Kofag. Luckily, my Blastoise takes on this Kofag pretty well with the Dark Pulse, but I'm just trying to think if it's worth it to go for the Dark Pulse or to predict the switch out and go for Spin. Like, his switch into Tangrowth here is pretty obvious, but my Victini is already at pretty much like a low amount of HP. Goodra, if I play it well, can still do okay with the Toxic Spikes. Weavile doesn't care that much because it doesn't need to stay in for a bunch of hits. Cobalion's not affected, Landorus is not affected. So I decide just to make the safe play and going for Dark Pulse here. And just the fact that this Kofag is so annoying for my team, I'm happy to try and get damage off on it. And like I can live with the T-Spikes. That's kind of the decision that I make here. And of course he does make the safe play into Tangrowth. So I'm like, I kind of wish I clicked the Rapid Spin just because I could have immediately nipped it in the butt. But I'm still relatively happy with this play. So because I anticipate the Giga Drain, I'm going to go hard into Goodra, and we are able to absorb that, take no damage, and he has no Dragon Resist on his team. I could go for Ice Beam, but if he wants to switch into like Persian or Rotom or something, I'd rather get off as much damage as possible. And I know that I'm going to be able to kill this Tangrowth pretty soon. And in fact, I know that since it's at a range of HP to die from Toxic, there's no reason for me to not click Toxic on that play in case he did switch, which is exactly what we see here. Like I mentioned, Tangrowth is dying either way, so if he wanted to stay in and click EQ versus me and take me out, he's killing himself at the same time. But if he wants to switch and preserve his Tangrowth, then I can land a Toxic off on whatever wants to come in. So definitely works out for me here. The Cofagrigus is now Toxic. I'm going to be able to go for Draco Meteor one last time, and that damage at -2 is still pretty nice. It does suggest that this thing is fully Fizz Def, and he's going to show the leftovers, which is nice. Fizz Def does make sense because besides Rotom, it's his best check for Lando, just because that's such a nice defense stat. I'm going to go for the V-Create here because nothing really appreciates it on his team, and he does go into Rotom. Again, he might be thinking that I'm Scarf with my Victini here, so I'm going to take this as an opportunity to switch up moves and go for Energy Ball. It's a roll to kill from the range of HP that this Rotom is at, but I am going to go for it, and I am going to luckily score this kill. So Rotom is now out of the way. That's definitely a nuisance for my Landorus. Now whenever my Landorus comes in, it almost gets a kill with Supersonic Sky Strike, which is nice. I sack my Victini because I don't want this Salazzle going for Substitute, just given how much of a threat it is versus my team. I don't have Goodra, and I can't really take it on otherwise. With my Blastoise, I just go for Dark Pulse here because I'm, again, thinking that Tangrowth is going to come in, but I choose to make the aggressive play this time instead of going for the safe play versus Salazzle. I went for the safe play versus the Cofagrigus earlier. He ends up doubling into his Kyurem, and I clicked Scald just because I knew that Scald was going to kill the Tangrowth. And in case he wanted to switch into, Persian or Kofag or something like that. Not that Kofag makes a ton of sense versus Dark Pulse and Blastoise, but you guys get my point. Like I felt like Scald was a good play. It's gonna snipe the Salazzle if he for some reason decides to switch into that. Maybe I should have just gone for Aura Sphere, but I digress. If this thing is banded or if it's Gigavolt Havoc, it will kill my Blastoise here. But I don't have another play besides just clicking Aura Sphere. And that is what I'm going to do as he doubles back into his Tangrowth. And I'm going to hit that thing up with the Aura Sphere, it's going to be able to kill this potentially. I'm just going to go for Aura Sphere again. If he wants to go into his Kofag, that's fine. But we are able to take out the Tangrowth, and that's another bulky threat gone. So this is kind of nice for me. Like the two bulkiest mons, the Rotom and the Tangrowth, are gone. The Kofag is toxic. And as you're going to see here, this is actually a very nice tech on his part. He goes for the Venoshock with the Salazzle. Now, I did do the damage calc, and this was a roll. This was probably, it was about a 50-50, but it might have been like 60-40 in his favor for him to kill with his Venoshock. And I am able to survive and take it out with the Scald, which is amazing for me. If I had been knocked out by this, I probably would have gone into Lando and clicked Supersonic Sky Strike. Because I can live in HP Ice with my HP investment, take this thing out, and it would have been pretty unfortunate. This is unfortunate for him because he gets off critical damage on my Lando. Then the Kyurem will be able to come in and immediately threaten out my Lando, and I would be on the back foot. As it is, we're going to have a double down here, and the Salazzle is going to go down, and my Blastoise is going to go down. And now we're 3v3, but my Landorus is at full, and I don't have to leave in Lando versus a potential Kyurem. So I go into to Weavile because I know it can apply a lot of pressure versus all of his Mons as long as Kyurem is not Choice Scarf. I haven't seen any sort of item on that thing yet, but I don't want to lead Cobalion because I think Cobalion's an easy switch into Kofag for him. I don't want to lead Lando because in case he does lead Kyurem, that can potentially screw me up and I have to switch out into my Cobalion. But I thought Weavile was the best because, like I said, it applied the most pressure. I am just going to go for a knockoff because, you know, even if he does switch into this Persian, I can get rid of its item. And it does show to be Helmet, which I'm not that surprised by. I am going to go into my Lando to try and intimidate this thing and potentially get up my rocks. But he's going to make a nice play and just go for Parting Shot. This Parting Shot is so annoying. This Persian is proven to be so annoying. But now he can easily go out into KB, and this is sort of what I feared. I am going to switch on out into my Cobalion, because with my Shuka Berry, I can take one of anything that this Pokemon wants to go for. He does go for the Ice Beam, and he shows to be Life Orb, so that's a big relief. So he's not Z-Move, he's not Scarf. I think I can much more safely deal with this Kyurem, given that it's Life Orb, because both my Weavile and my Cobalion outspeed it. So that's a big sigh of relief for me. I'm expecting his switch into Kofag, and I don't really think that I'm going to have a better opportunity to set up my rocks than I would on that Kofag. So we're going to make a double. There's almost no way that he sacks his Kyurem here, even though honestly I think his Kyurem's the least useful out of the three Mons. Because if this Kofag at least has Wisp, Wisp can hit all three of my Mons. I don't think I have anything that can just straight up Oko the Kofag on my Lando or my Cobalion. So we get up the rocks, and we go for the Supersonic Sky Strike, and this does nothing to this Persian. And I'm just like, shit, I don't have a good way of dealing with this. What I'm thinking I need to do, like, my Lando is sort of expendable here. So I'm just going to click EQ and try and kill this thing. But he's actually going to show the Rest. And this is so bad. Like, Persian with Rest, it's got Rest, Foul Play, Parting Shot, and I don't know exactly what its last move is, but I'm going to find out here that it is Sleep Talk. And he's going to pull a Foul Play with that first Sleep Talk, give me an attack boost. So I did go Cobalion because I figured if this Pokemon did not have Sleep Talk, it's an auto win for me. I come in, I click SD, and I kill all three Mons. As it is, he does show the Sleep Talk. He goes for Foul Play, gets off one hit on me. At this point, I should have just gone hard for Close Combat. Because even if he switches out into Kofag, I go for Iron Head, and I pretty much put put that thing in range of dying to Weavile, and then we'll have to see. Like, it's tough for Weavile to potentially kill the Persian. We'll have to see exactly how that goes. Maybe I would maybe I would have stacked my Lando on the potential Kofag switch in rather than going for Iron Head, just to save this Cobalion for dealing with this Persian. But as it is, I actually click SD here, And I think this was one of the worst possible plays that I could have made, because SD is one of the only ways that I could lose. If he goes for Sleep Talk and doesn't pull Foul Play, I do immediately win. But as you're going to see, he actually does pull the Foul Play. And that's going to give me it's going to get me to +3, or actually +4. I was for some reason up until this point I hadn't realized that I was actually a +4 with this Cobalion, which means that this Persian is going to wake up this turn and is going to be able to click Foul Play and kill me. I was like, okay, there's no way that I can allow that to happen. Cobalion's too important at this point. And I'm just really mad because I know that at +2, Kofag's going to come in at 44%. I actually do straight up win. So I'm just kicking myself over and over. I'm like, God, this is so dumb. I might have just choked this game away. But I'm going to go into my Lando, and he is going to go for the Foul Play in a moment, as you'll see. And my play at this point is just to try to get him to go for Rest. And he does do that immediately, which is nice. So I can get off an Earthquake here on his initial Rest. I'll get off another Earthquake on his first Sleep Talk on this turn. The next turn, I'll do another one, and he'll probably be at about 40%, like 45% as you see here. No, he's going to go down to about 15% after recovery and everything. So I know 100% that he is going to Rest on this turn, so now I'm going to try again. I'm going to go back into Cobalion, and I am going to click CC this time. And it is a bit of 50-50-50 because he could go into his Kofag. But as you can see, he does elect to stay in. He goes for Sleep Talk and pulls Foul Play, which actually gives me a boost. And it puts him in range of any attack from my Weavile, which is very excellent for me. So we're able to go and take that thing out with the Iron Head. I went for Iron Head in case he doubled into Kofag for some reason. Now we're going to be able to get off some chip on this Kofag. If we flinched it, then the Cobalion just wins here. But it does not flinch, so dies to Shadow Ball, and now my Weavile comes in and clicks buttons and wins the game. So it ended up being a 2-0, but I don't think that's, like, even though a 2-0 is a close game, I don't think it's indicative of how close this endgame truly was. I made a couple of misplays that very nearly cost me the game, and I'm still pretty disappointed about that. But you know, there was the potential 50-50 there with the Persian versus my Cobalion. He could have went into Kofag and taken the what do you call it, the close combat, obviously, because it's immune, and then I might have been in a crappy spot. Like, I might have definitely lost if that was the case, but we were fortunate enough to get the call right and come out on the winning side of this battle. So big shout outs to Scoot. He's a great battler. He's almost always gotten the better of me, and so it means a lot that I was able to beat him. So shout outs to him for being a solid competitor and a good sport, and you know, a great member of the UBC. Happy to have him as part of the league. This is going to bump us up to 4-3 with a +7 differential, which is pretty nice. I'm feeling pretty good. We have a very tough matchup next week versus the Texas Tyrantrums, coached by Raikougars Bat, aka Nick. And he's got a team with Manaphy and Zard X that I'm very much dreading. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. It was a lot of fun for me. I really liked the team that I brought this week, and I just loved my roster in general. This is one of my favorite rosters that I've used just ever in Draft League format. And yeah, hope you guys check back to my channel for other gaming and Pokemon content. And until the next time, I'll see you guys later.